So, John, we are in the industry seeing a lot more prescriptive guidance around negative news screening. And so we've seen some guidance recently published from Wolfsberg Group. How do you think this will impact obliged entities?
Probably there'll be quite a significant impact, I would imagine, because certainly previously organisations were happy with just screening PEPs and sanctions, for example, and therefore this is different to that. Adverse or screening for adverse information and media is completely different. And I'll explain why they're different, is that PEPs and sanctions is normally a database, and therefore they're known to have actually gone and done something, therefore either become a PEP or they're on a sanction, therefore is listed to search against. Whereas in the case of adverse information and media screening, now you're looking at unstructured data, and that's a whole new ballgame for a lot of organisations. I mean, we are talking large organisations, so suddenly now we'll have to think about how they're going to implement that within their businesses.
Surely this is not very new for them. They should have been screening adverse media and negative news historically also. It's just that they were kind of missing a bit of.
It's fair to say they should have been, but I would suggest most don't and haven't been. They've used Google or similar search engines in the past, and it's very interesting that Wolfsberg made it really clear, I think on question 18 and 19 and 20, in fact, that using such engines is actually not acceptable for searching for adverse information. And I've seen in some organisations where they've done a Google search and then done a screenshot of the Google search and appended that to the record. And I'm also aware of another organisation where they thought they were smart by using what was called a Boolean search on Google, not realising that Google has a maximum of 32 characters, and their 33rd word was fraud. So therefore in 2 years they never had one single hit for fraud. So again, it's back down to doing it properly and also making sure the staff are trained to do it properly. But also, as the report did say, therefore, if the standard search engines don't produce the right results, what are you going to use?
Absolutely.
Obviously, is a question.
Absolutely. So as you've mentioned with Wolfsberg Group, they're stating that this negative news screening can help us in prevention of financial crime. So could you tell us a little bit more about that? How does this assist us in that process?
For sure. So remember, there's very rarely a smoking gun, because there's not. So therefore, what are you now looking for? So we have to look at, again, structured data, unstructured data. Structured data means they've actually been already either found guilty of something or accused of something. This actually sits on a database. Unstructured data means there's a report about it or story around it, a news article around it, etc. So the challenge then for the user is trying to work out whether that news story is actually relative, A, to their client or customer, and or B, actually how serious is that? So again, people get confused with what's adverse information. Well, what you're looking for is information around a company or an individual that could affect your business. So therefore, in the world of PEPs and sanctions, you know you must check for those. And if there is a hit, it has to be moved up to a senior management regime because it represents a higher risk to the business. Similarly, when you're therefore seeing and screening for adverse information or media, you have to determine whether or not the result actually does or could damage your business. So that's where training comes in and education comes in, but also using the right technology to bring back the results as well, because again, if you're putting the wrong information in, you're going to get the wrong information out, as we all know.